Okay, my YouTube friends, today I want to switch gears a little bit. I know I've been covering mostly bodybuilders from back in the day, the last few video sessions. And this time I'm going to go in a different direction, and we're going to cover a strongman that I've neglected to cover. Not sure why, it just happens to be that way, but none other than Doug Hepburn. Now, in the picture that you see at the beginning of the video, you'll see him standing sideways. He looks in fairly good shape here, but you'll notice that he's kind of hiding his right leg behind the left. And that is because, as most people know, he had a withered leg, which was the result of when he was a small boy, he had the one foot was twisted severely. And then the surgery that was meant to correct that, there was some damage done, and he ended up with this withered leg. Didn't seem to stop him at all. Slowed him down maybe a little bit, but not too much. He, unlike some of the other guys we've covered, was focused on, and much like Paul Anderson, just pure power and strength. He was all about lifting as much weight as he possibly could. Mostly on the Olympic lifts, but also had a tremendous bench press. We're going to show a page in the video a little bit down here, like all the feats of strength that he's known for. And he did platform lifts and stuff like that. Humble guy, never had a lot of money, didn't try to enrich himself through his... Yeah, he had some training programs later on, but I don't think he ever made a ton of money from it. Here he is doing a platform lift with the Canucks hockey team. He's from Vancouver. I didn't want to make this video like a biography of Doug. There's a lot of things you can find out about him, like he was a tenor singer, had mood swings, didn't have much positive things to say about relationships with women. And there's a picture that I'm not even sure if I put it on the video, where again, much like Anderson, you see a picture of him with a couple hot young ladies on his shoulders, and there's something like a headline in a magazine about how big strong guys get all the ladies, and he didn't find that to be his experience. And it sounded like he had a little bit of an attitude because of course, women tend back then and to this day will tend to go for the better looking guys, and they're not concerned how much you can, how much weight you can throw up in the air or etc. So this is the diet of Paul Anderson shown here. And again, the two had similar physiques. Various people would claim either one to be the strongest man in the world back in those days. Big debate, and still up, for debate. Here's Doug's take. And in fact, had some insane breakfasts. And in fact, it was listed that, here you see him. I'm not sure if this is one of the cases, but where he would put like a dozen eggs into a quart of milk. And that was before breakfast. Then for breakfast, he would have like a steak, half dozen hard-boiled eggs, a bowl or two of pudding, a bunch of buttered bread, just nuts. And he would and drank a lot of milk, like Anderson did, like some of the other strongmen did that were even not competitors. Now, of course, he won a number of awards. He did win gold medals. He competed for British Columbia, and he competed in Sweden and some other places, and in Russia, and the Europeans were very impressed with his strength. Again, much like they were with Paul Anderson. So a lot of people might say that Doug was kind of Canada's version of Paul Anderson, and they were very similar in a lot of ways. I'm not going to get into the whole autobiographical thing, but I'm more interested in sharing his training methods. Here you can see his massive back, big arms. He had like 21-inch arms. His chest was huge. Now, of course, he had the gut to go with it because he was, no one's going to say the guy had ever 10% body fat in his life. Not the case. Because he was, depending on where you get the info from, he was 5'8", maybe 5'9" tops, and at his top weight was like 290. So that's a lot of weight to carry around. And again, he was not concerned with looks. Now here's that list of different lifts that he did. You can see bench press, 535, normal grip, and then with a collar to collar, 580, which in those days was super impressive. And with, no bench shirts or anything like that. Now, the power routine, there's like an A, B, and C routine. Okay. And it goes from singles up to threes for the power part. Fives he liked to do, that was more the pump part to him, which he did together early on. And I'm going to show you that. But we're just going to talk about his variants of the power things for a few slides here. The pump routine was the 5x5, which goes back forever. And you would usually start out with triples, and then he would work up to fives. Whether it was the power routine or the pump routine, he was always trying to just add a rep, like every workout like this. And you would always add the rep to the first until you got the 5, let's say when you're moving from threes to fives, and then move on as shown. So you first 3 or 4 months, you do the, of course, you warm up like is shown, and then you would do singles. You could do singles, working up to doubles, and then he also did triples, working up to fives. There were several different routines. Okay, so you see, and the percents are just shown as an illustration by this author. Doug did not use percents because he knew that people would respond differently. So he didn't want to make that like a dogmatic thing with the percentages. Now, these are just some of the different options that he would use, and it was always just like 3 exercises at most in a workout. But again, and at first, as I'm going to show, he would do like the lower reps for one of those sets, and then the pump part would be the next 2 exercises would be for the higher reps, which high reps for him was 5s. It never even talks about him doing 8s or 10s or 20s or that kind of stuff. Very big on low reps, and obviously it did well for his strength. There were some variations on the actual exercises shown, but squats and deadlifts and variations of the deadlift, rack pulls, all that kind of stuff. You also did high pulls or power cleans. But if you want to talk about the split, it might be something like this, not written in stone. Again, the exercises could be different. He was big on curling, which was kind of unusual, and you don't see him doing really any tricep isolation exercises, which is interesting with 21-inch arms. This is another variation. And again, combinations of squats and deadlifts for the lower body for the most part. And again, at first, Doug would do both styles with the lower reps and then like 5s for a couple exercises, as shown here. And it might be usually would be a Monday, Wednesday, although it could have been a 4-day split. I don't think he ever trained more than 4 days in a week. So you might want to pause that last thing, take a good look at it. But ultimately, he separated those real low reps and then the 5s into 2 different periods of a long cycle. And then the more minimalist approach was the 4-day split usually. And again, that was more either the lower reps or the higher reps, which again for him was 5s, because he felt doing both in the same session as he did early was a little bit too much, and he kind of regretted having done that. All that said, I think I've tried to lay out the basics of his programs. Again, basic compound exercises really didn't do. The only isolation exercises you might say he used was curls, and he was big on curls. He curled up to 250, 260 pounds strict. Well, thanks for watching, and I'm out. Catch you next time.